Right after the countries of the West have finished celebrating their Christmas and New Year holidays, with Christmas trees, bright lights, and the other holiday fanfare, in South India they're preparing to celebrate Pongal. Like the holidays of the West, it is centered around the winter solstice. Pongal is a 3-day holiday celebrated especially in the state of Tamil Nadu. It commences on January 13th or 14th, right after the sun has reached its most southern point. On the first day of Pongal, houses and homes are cleaned and decorated, such as you see here.
இது கோலம் ரங்கோலின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. தை திருநாள் முதல் நாளை நாங்கள் தமிழர்கள் திருநாளை நாங்கள் வைப்போம். வீட்டு வாசலில் கோலம் போட்டு சூரிய பகவானுக்கும் கடவுளுக்கும் நன்றி செலுத்தும் விதமாக நாங்கள் கோலம் போட்டு எங்கள் விழாவை நாங்கள் சிறப்பிப்போம்.
On the second day, people gather to cook rice and other special foods in the early morning. It's offered to their sun god during prayers and later served for lunch. This ritual seeks a blessing for an abundant harvest. It's kind of like Thanksgiving offering. You have to remember, this is South India, where they have harvest in January. The third and final day of Pongal is dedicated to worshiping the farm animals, particularly cows, and they are decorated for the occasion. A carnival-like celebration takes place on the last day as well. As enticing as this celebration is, the Bible tells us in 1 Corinthians, "For though they be that are called gods, whether in heaven or in earth, as there be gods many and lords many, but to us there is but one God, the Father, of whom are all things, and we in him, and one Lord Jesus Christ, by whom are all things, and we by him." Over the course of the 26 years we've been in India, Laymen Ministries has helped establish many churches using the system we have in place. Some churches have property and nice buildings. Others are rented spaces, such as this church on top of a house. Okay, so this is the area which you were talking about where they'd like to put a temporary church. Yes. And I think that some of our viewers have probably seen over the years on our television programs where we've taken you to temporary churches is what they call it, right? Yes. That are on top of roofs like this, and they put up either a thatched roof or a metal roof, and they have church service for maybe 25, 50 people at the most.
Yes.
And then what's the next step in the process?
After that, maybe depends upon our finance situation, we'll purchase a property and we'll build a church.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in this area here, how many churches have we established? Any at all, or is this a new unentered territory?
In this, around this area, we have so far entered into 15 unentered territory we have entered around this area.
In temporary churches in those areas or
and
established?
We have temporary churches 4, and we have built 8 churches in this area.
Wow, and what does it cost to build like a temporary church just to put a roof on a building like this?
It is $1,000.
About $1,000, huh? And then they use that for maybe a year, 2 years until they can establish a full-grown church. Oh, good. Well, that helps me to understand, to look at it. With just a thatched roof, it provides a place to worship and to talk about the Bible. Those that attend come from all walks of life, and some are just now learning about the Bible for the very first time. Our system for establishing churches has become a showcase in India. Pastor Johnson has been asked to go to various places all over India to share how Laymen Ministry works so they too can replicate our proven method. While we were there, I had a chance to take part in a dedication of a new church. This is just a sample of the kind of churches where the Bible workers have been working. This is a small, humble beginning, but the church starts out this way, and then it grows. There's a lot more members actually than we have here because this afternoon some of them aren't here, but as the church gets bigger and bigger, they'll actually buy property and they'll establish a church. And we've established a lot of churches over the years here in this part of India.
இந்தியா முழுவதற்கும் அவர் தான் ஊழியர்களுடைய தலைவராக இருக்கிறார். கடைசி நேரத்தில் முடிவு பண்ணதுனால நம்மளால என்ன பண்ண முடியலங்க.
In India, it's not uncommon to meet people who used to worship demons like this man. One of the issues back not too long ago in our magazine, we had a story about this gentleman, and he was a Hindu that was worshiping idols, and it was kind of like almost a demonic thing. And you were a priest, right?
Yes. நீங்கள் வந்து அதெல்லாம் வச்சு தொழில் பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தீங்க பூஜை பண்ணுற
And
மாதிரி.
what convinced you not to do that anymore?
God's picture வந்து
தமிழ்லேயே சொல்லுங்க.
வீடு வந்து
So these Bible workers came to my home. சொல்லுங்க.
வீட்டுக்கு வந்து பார்த்துட்டு நல்லா ஒன்றும் கடவுளுக்கு எக்ஸ்பிளேஷன் கொடுத்தாங்க.
They gave many explanation that this is not the God, these are not the gods, true gods.
Jesus is the true God.
இயேசுவானவர் மாத்திரமே, Jesus is the only God. They said the Bible workers gave the Bible studies and make him to remove all the idols from his house. And he was so scared at the first time when they were actually his house was very dirty. Our Bible workers all joined together and they clean all the houses, Not only they took away the idols, but they cleaned all the houses and they washed out the house rooms, and they made him to be happy, and they prayed for him, and they sang songs and prayed, and they gave him sometimes some food also, because he has only one son. He did not take care of this man. So our Bible workers, we gave him food at first time. Sister, especially Sister Pushpa, Sister Vana. We gave him Bible studies, and we took all the ropes in his hand and in his neck. That the enchanting ropes.
He was like casting spells. And
Yes,
things
yes,
like
yes,
that.
yes, yes.
So he had
So,
special like ropes
yeah.
around his neck and.
Yeah, we removed everything. We told him to remove everything. He removed everything. All these ropes in his
Like necklaces.
neck and his hands. He took away everything, and then he became a Christian. And he wanted to take baptism, and we gave him baptism. And now he is our church member. By the grace of God, now he has lost all the powers, enchanting powers, because he accepted Jesus Christ. He became a normal man like us. And previously he was having the talks with the evil spirits and have the relationship with the evil spirits because he had a lot of idols in his house. He used to talk with them, and now he left everything and gave his life to the Lord Jesus Christ.
Since the beginning of our project in South India, Laymen Ministries has sponsored a team of Bible workers. Currently, we employ 50 Bible workers, 2 of whom are pastors, which oversee the teams. These Bible workers go to an area and work it until they get a small group established. They hold Bible studies and answer questions. These groups then grow by word of mouth, and the Bible workers make friends with these people, pray for their families, and help them in various ways. Eventually, they're introduced to a pastor, a church company is formed, property is purchased, and a church is built. Even after that, the Bible workers still visit the new churches to check on them and to make sure the people are not falling away. Going door to door, our Bible workers encounter people of all types, from the wealthy and educated to the poor and suffering. They have even gone to a door just to find out that a woman was trying to commit suicide, or find someone suffering in extreme depression. They have been threatened by drug addicts and drunks, chased away by Hindus, and even had stones thrown at them. Yet our Bible workers still pray for and with people and see the Lord changing hearts. Many of the people who are hurting and the hardest to reach later apologize and give their hearts to Jesus. The work of the Bible worker is difficult, but it's worth it. Every time I visit South India, we hold a meeting and prayer time with our Bible workers. But even when I'm not there, this meeting takes place every Monday morning. The Bible workers come and pray together, make their plans for the week, talk about strategies, and give a report from the previous week. We run a tight ship, you might say, but we're still like a big family. When I visit with my wife, Christy, we share with them words of encouragement and talk with them about their work and lives. Some of these Bible workers have been with our ministry for many years. Some of our older Bible workers are now on part-time pay, and they no longer go out door to door. Instead, they have a new ministry in answering our prayer hotline that is connected with our television programs. Many of the people who call in receive free books, tracts, and magazines. Names and addresses are taken, and they're turned over to our workers at the television studio, who then mail these materials out. If the people call back or write in, often a Bible worker will go to their home and pay a visit. We make many contacts this way, as our television programs are known all across India. In 2003, we began our television ministry in India. There was no Seventh-day Adventist media studios at that time. We had to hire commercial studios to record our programs, which was both costly and full of many headaches. A decade later, we built our own studio outside the city of Chennai in South India. Being located out in the country, we have a peaceful place to do our production, free of the city noise. The small campus consists of a production studio, bookstore, apartments, and even a church. We're able to produce all kinds of television programs in 3 different languages, English, Tamil, and Telugu, under the name Laymen Ministries, Saving Hands. This is Laymen Ministry India's production studio. I remember we bought this property in 2011. We had a prayer of dedication. A group of us got together and we stood right in this kind of open field area, and we prayed that this property could be used for God's glory for building a production studio. We started building in 2012, and the process was slow at first because we have seasonal rains here, and we had to also build up the property so it would prevent the property from being flooded. We hauled in bricks and we started construction, but by March of 2013, we had the big dedication where we had a lot of people come here, and we dedicated this facility to the glory of God to produce television programs and music videos. Since 2013, we've produced literally hundreds of television programs, and these programs have been used on cable networks and satellite networks. Some of them are produced in Telugu language, some of them are produced in English language, and some of them are produced in the Tamil language, and we're looking at expanding into the Hindi language. But besides just producing television programs that are being aired on television through, your typical channels like satellite and cable networks, we're expanding a lot into YouTube and producing television programs specifically for a YouTube target. This building is a 2-story building, so the downstairs area is actually a production studio, but the upstairs area is a living area, and some of the studio staff and Bible workers that actually live on campus here live up there. And then in the back we have a kitchen area where they can cook food, and we have a small church in the back too, which serves not only for a training place for during the week where we bring people in, lay people in, and train them how to do Bible work, social work in these local community areas, but we also use it for Sabbath services. We have 2 Bible workers here that have worked this area, and we now have quite a number of church groups started, including the one here on Sabbath. On the upper story of the church, we have a large storage facility where we have all our literature. We have people who actually call into the TV programs and they're wanting to get free literature, and so we have books and magazines and things like that in various different languages. And the men that work here at the studio are in charge of shipping this literature, not only around the area of the city of Chennai, but all across India and even to very many foreign countries. Our faithful supporters have helped with the weekly airtime costs of $1,320 to keep Pastor Shadrach, Pastor Johnson, and our other programs on the air. That is just for airtime, and it doesn't include studio overhead or production costs. Our team in the studio produces a wide range of programs, from short Bible clips to music videos and present truth presentations. They also produce a Sabbath school discussion program that's very popular with Adventists and non-Adventists alike. Each year we produce 104 half-hour programs and 52 hour-long programs. Each show begins with a special song, which means producing 156 music videos each year, just for our television programs. As you may know, Chennai, India has been suffering from a severe drought. Earlier this year, our well went dry at the studio, and this was a serious problem as we have people coming to record at our studio. Right at the height of dry season, we had a well driller come, and we prayed for water. God blessed, and now we have a good bore well that provides enough water for the whole campus. We want to thank each one of you who helped us with this project. India has elephants. Ever since I was a young boy, I had a fascination with these pachyderms. In South India, there's a place that is an elephant sanctuary. When we arrived, some of the elephants were receiving their morning baths. It was also feeding time. I would love to have an elephant for a pet, but I don't think they would do so well in the backwoods of North Idaho. Down in the southeastern tip of India, close to a city called Nazareth, Laymen Ministries operates a boys' home for orphan and semi-orphan boys. Our facility is on a nice piece of land located in the country. We are currently working to build a girls' dorm next door because the government will not allow boys and girls in the same buildings. We currently have 15 orphan boys in our home right now, and the children are provided a loving, home-type environment. Moses Samuel and his wife are the directors of our orphanage. He was raised an orphan himself and has a business degree in management. Moses and his wife have a love and passion for helping orphan children. While we were there, Moses showed Christy around the kitchen as we recently bought some new appliances.
So this is the new fridge we purchased for
I wish I had flowers on mine like that. But we've got a bunch of eggs here. They're marked. You can see that they dated them. This one is better. It's been dated so that they don't use the eggs that are too old. And lots of vegetables in there.
Because
We want to make sure the children get fed a balanced diet. That's a good lot of good
ours
variety.
ours is one of the best menu in our area.
And do the children like the food?
Yeah, once when the inspection they came from government side, they were astonished to see this one.
Good.
They were surprised to see this.
And the children like it?
Yeah, they like it. We have a small food committee. We call the children and we ask them.
Okay.
If they don't like anything, if they don't like any food, we avoid it. But if it is, that means if it is rich in, if it is good for them,
Yeah.
we ask them to eat.
She's here to help cook in the kitchen for the children. And when you're cooking for this many children, you definitely need an extra pair of hands. She's busy preparing lunch today, and we're real thankful for her. You like her? Say say hello?
This is a dormitory one, this is for little children. We
Okay.
have 12 boys,
Mm-hmm.
6 small ones, and 6 bigger ones.
That's a change from last time I was here because last time they were all in one room.
Yeah.
This is a very good idea. I
Yeah,
like
this
that.
is, yeah.
I'm
This
glad
side.
to hear
Also we want to, what we have earlier the children were falling down. So now I have made them to sleep like this.
that.
So
Good idea.
they won't fall down.
They say little children sleep like a helicopter,
Yeah.
so they fall out. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, this is the distribution notebook.
Okay.
We put it here. When the children need anything, they'll write it on this page.
This page has their name. This is their
Their name is
Okay.
there, and then they'll put the request here,
Okay.
and we'll look into that.
So this box right here is called the suggestion box or the complaining box. And it has a lock on it. So every month the government comes and they open it up and they see what the children have written there. I was thinking some children back home might like to have one of those in their home. This is a very unique idea and it protects the children.
Yeah.
I know that many of you in the States have been very interested in the orphanage here in India, and that many people know that we've only been able to house boys. This ground that we're standing on right now has been purchased sand by our donors in order to level this area out so we can build a dormitory for the girls. And I just thought that it would be nice for you to know that we are working towards that and that this is the beginning, the foundation of building that dormitory so we can also house some girls here.
The boys attend an Adventist school nearby. We have a small minivan that was donated a couple years ago, so we use that to take the boys back and forth from home to school. This school provides a wonderful Christian education for these boys. The boys are taught to keep their areas clean, their clothes washed and folded. Each has their own area to neatly put things away. All have chores that have to be performed, which is good training for learning how to be responsible. They are fed healthy meals, and once a week a gentleman comes and gives some of the students music lessons. The boys love playing instruments and singing. Every evening they say their prayers and do things like brush their teeth. The government inspectors tell us that our facility is one of the nicest in this region. On Sabbath, people come from the nearby community to worship God in our little church, which is toward the entrance of the property. The boys help lead out in Sabbath school and in church service. They often have special presentations and sing songs. For $100 per month per child, we can provide food, shelter, and a loving home environment and an education for these children. As mentioned earlier, much of southeast India has suffered from a drought, and we had serious water problems at our boys' home. One of the problems we've continually dealt with here at the orphanage is the fact that the ocean's about a mile away over this direction, and the salt water from the ocean's coming into the water table here and contaminates the soil. And so the surface water here is saline. It's made a problem for some of the gardening that we've done here. We've had to bring in sand and dirt and raise the beds up so that we can actually grow food here. We got actually a really nice garden area now. But the problem is culinary water, fresh water used for cooking and drinking and things like that. So we drilled a bore well right over on the side of the property here, which turned out to be really good. The water's clean. The only problem is that May, June, and July, the water goes dry. So during that season, the boys and Moses, the director of the orphanage here, have to go to the nearby town with these push carts, and they have to hand pump water into these kind of like cans to bring over here for the culinary purposes. We recently just got an offer from the government to be able to tie into a government water line system that's only about 3,000 feet over that way. The cost will cost about $3,000 to do that, and we'll have adequate fresh water here for all the culinary purposes of being able to run the orphanage. So we're really praying that those funds will come in. We also ran into some other funding problems with trying to build a girls' dormitory because of the fact that turns out that there's a lot of zoning and things like that that take place, and so we had to hire an architect. The old days in India, just going out in the countryside and building a building are long gone. You know, the Western idea of the way things are done has come into society, and so now you have to get proper permits, especially if you're dealing with something like an orphanage. You have to have special permits, you have to have everything engineered, you have to be in the right kind of zoning to be able to build certain kinds of buildings. So that has set us back a little bit. We had one donor who had given most of the money for building the girls' facility, but now we're finding out that's not quite enough to really be able to meet all the needs. So we're praying for that too. From Bible workers and building churches to television production and orphanages, Laymen Ministries has been working in India for 26 years to help bring the gospel message to the people of this exotic country. And we want to thank all of you for your prayers and support.